Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to something a little bit different. You might notice already that there is something slightly odd going on the side of your screen. Hello, hi, my name's Josh. I'm one amongst many, if you aren't aware. This is Ganymede. Ganymede's going to be helping me do something quite special, because you might notice on the screen, the name of the player is, well, it's not me. This is actually the guy who's playing. This is Ryan from Overwatch Central. If you aren't familiar with Overwatch Central, go check them out. There's a link to their channel in the description below. They're two very, very good guys, make some good content. They're good friends of mine as well. And what Ryan has done is he's been recording a lot of his games. Ryan wants to improve, and if you saw the start screen, you might have noticed that the average rating for this match is like Gold League. It's like 2.3k. Ryan himself is in Platinum, and he wants to get better. And that's what matters. That's what I like. And what Ryan wants to do is he's sending me his videos and his footage. I am watching his footage with my friend Ganymede here, and then we are going to give him advice and coaching and see how he can develop his play, where he can improve it, and that kind of stuff. Do not be mean to Ryan, because Ryan wants to improve, and that is all that fucking matters at the end of the day. I don't care how many stupid mistakes he makes. If he's a complete fucking idiot, we'll call him a complete fucking idiot, but we will give him advice in how to stop being a complete fucking idiot. In the nicest possible way that we can, of course. So, we are here on Dorado, we are here as Reinhardt, and instantly there's a problem. Instantly there's a problem. This is a 6-stack. All 5 of his teammates are stood somewhere completely that isn't defensible by him. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a pretty big problem. That's a really big problem. That's a really big fuck you of a problem. This is a really good position for Reinhardt. This is where Reinhardt wants to be starting. This is, in my mind, where you defend as Reinhardt on Dorado. Because what you can do is you set your team up behind you, and you can just poke away with a little bit of DPS. When the payload starts advancing forward and gets to about, let's say, here, you can just move around and defend the actual choke point. Have a good fight around there. You guys should be ahead on barrier damage, and yeah, it feels pretty good. Instead, what's going to happen is they're going to try and defend down here. This is just because the team seems to have no cohesion. That's a communication error. This should be communicated better. Like, what are you protecting at the moment? And this actually leads very nicely into the core problem I see throughout this. And this is what I'm going to talk about for most of this match, basically. It's very simple. Ryan has the issue, and this is going to be like, this is the most brutal way of saying it. This is the absolutely most brutal way of saying it. Ryan has the issue where he doesn't know what he's doing. And that sounds really harsh, but it's true. And it's true, and let me explain why it's true. He doesn't know what his objectives here are. He doesn't know where, it's not so much where he should be, because he is in the right location, but he doesn't know what he should be doing from like heartbeat to heartbeat. He knows the broad strokes, but he doesn't know exactly what his job is on this team. And that's going to manifest in a couple of different things. So I'm just going to let it play while I talk, and then we're going to go back over what's happening on the screen. He doesn't know if his job is here to be a tank that people can stand behind. He doesn't know if he's here to be zone denial. And basically that's what he's going to be playing as for most of this, is what I would call zone denial Reinhardt, where you're just you're a big AoE circle of damage, but you're not really a barrier. And that's what Ryan will play as for most of this game. And that's because he doesn't understand that his job, his most effective role here, would actually be playing as the 2000 hit point barrier. And like, we're going to go back and we're just going to sort of go over this entire fight that's just happened. And I want you guys to pay attention to a few different things. Okay, so Ryan realizes, quite rightly, that he's not protecting anything right now. And he's decided to drop down. Watch how little his barrier comes up during all of this. So instantly his Mercy's getting destroyed. And a couple of things actually happen here that very quickly. What I would be doing is I'd be turning to face this way to try and block this stream of damage coming in. Like, this stream of damage is still a threat, but D.Va can try and block some of that. Your immediate threat here is on the Mercy. You've got to get that Mercy protected. Get that Mercy behind your barrier, good. Stop this Mei from coming in and killing your Mercy. But something big happens. This Reinhardt initiates a charge that's super, super aggressive. This is a really aggressive charge. This is a charge that says, I want to kill you, and I don't care if I get out of position. You can force this guy to be in a terrible position by just pressing shift. Instead, he doesn't press shift. So he takes a shitload of damage. Luckily, he's got the heal grenade on him, and luckily his team follows up and does the damage. So that's all well and good, but honestly, he could have just pressed shift, denied getting that Reinhardt like 300 damage done, and bunch of ultimate charge, and just cancel out the charge in the middle. And honestly, I think Ryan would survive, the enemy Reinhardt would die. And this is something that happens again and again and again. He's got to just be a bit quicker on those counter charges. I think I actually hit the microphone there, so if you had a bump, that's why. Yeah, don't be afraid to punish an enemy Reinhardt's bad charge by charging into it, because it'll stop. You know, if it missed you, like heaven forbid if Mercy like decided to just step forward for some weird reason and got caught by the charge, then Mercy's dead. Like, you've got to counter those charges. You've got to stop those charges happening. And then afterwards, you just bring your barrier up. Here, like this is ideal. Like, this in my mind is the ideal situation. Your team is behind you. There's 3 of them in front. Ideally, the Forest should just be stood fucking behind it and just rocketing away. He drops his barrier, instantly takes 250 damage that he didn't need to take. The Reaper could have been safe behind the barrier as well. You could just be advancing forward slowly, dealing free damage, and they're getting nothing. Like, it's that mentality of, and that's the mentality in a nutshell, right? Like, swinging when you don't need to swing. Here, it's fine swinging because you're not blocking any damage with the Winston, so you might as well just clobber him. They have no follow-up damage. Here, there's just a Lucio, he's just going to run away. This is a very ballsy charge. I wouldn't have done it myself. This is nitpicking. Just a nitpicking charge where that Reinhardt really has to fuck up to walk into that. You might as well just keep hold of it. You might as well come out here. And again, like, my mind would be, I want to stop that Mei from freezing our Reaper. And, okay, in this situation now, there's the nano boost. Maybe he knew that these ultimates are coming out, so it doesn't matter too much as the nano boosted Reaper will just get out there and kill everything. But, like, it's that position of, like, I will stop the Reaper taking any damage, and therefore the Reaper will win the fight against the Mei. Not that I will clobber the Mei to death myself. And it's that team play sort of thing. And again, why no counter charge? That could have gone really badly for the Ana. If the Ana missed that charge, missed that sleep dart, like a split second later, she'd be dead. You might as well counter charge it. You'll probably survive it. The Ana could just keep you alive throughout all of it, and your team should be able to follow up. This is just a nightmare situation. Honestly, not that much you could do here. Don't think there was even a good opportunity to Earth Shadow there, so Ganymede says that's fine. Hello, Ganymede. I'm going to skip forward until Ryan gets back in the fight. And we're back in the battle, and something really interesting happens here. And this is, again, pointing to that idea of the moment-to-moment decision-making in what am I doing? What am I trying to achieve here? Because what he's achieving isn't what he needs to be achieving. So let's go back over this fight and this positioning. So he's coming out here, and he's literally just checked behind him. Actually, we'll go back one more. He literally checks behind him to see who's following him. Got 2 people. He walks out, and he instantly steps to the left. He creates a gap here that damage can go through. Solid 76 is here. There could be DPS waiting around here. You don't know. There's a Mace spamming this way as well. For some reason, Ana's gone up here. I don't understand why. That's frustrating me. But what is the true objective here? The true objective here, like in my mind, is just to walk forward. You just want to walk forward straight through here with your barrier up and your team to follow behind you. If Winston tries to do something, your team can just fuck him and kill him. Like, Ana should not be over here, first and foremost. And then, like, next up in my mind is this thing right in the middle of your screen. It's called Earth Shadow. It's pretty good. It's really good around payloads. We're going to talk about this a lot when we get to the attacking phase. But in my mind, you have 2 objectives here. 2 big objectives, and they all feed to the same thing, basically, which is you are stalling for your DPS to arrive. You aren't going to take this point here, because you're like 3 versus 6. You are stalling for as long as you can. You are buying time and hopefully getting an ultimate off that can swing it. What he's doing right now is he's fighting as if it's an even battle, and that he can kill things. He's swinging away with his hammer, and he's just eating damage. Like, his health bar is almost depleted, and down it goes. And ultimately, they just take the point. Like, the Mei walked up and froze the Reaper, for example, because there was just no space for anyone to come out here. Like, the Mei could just do whatever she wanted. So what should have happened? What would I advise happened? It's literally as simple as you walk forward, you keep your barrier up, and if they run into you, if this Reinhardt especially fucks up, Earth Shadow. You want to be trying to find a position where you can Earth Shadow as many people as possible, mostly for the buying time effect, not for the killing anyone effect. Like here, I would have just, the moment that Reinhardt charged off that way, I'd have turned Earth Shadowed this. Like, Earth Shadowed across the point. This is just a mistake, I think. This is just the mouse. Like, this is just aiming it badly. Not much you can do about that. I think Ryan knew when he dropped that wasn't perfect. C'est la vie. Happens. You missed a shot. And yeah, it's that thing of like, what is my goal here? It's not fighting. Your goal there is not fighting. Your goal there is stalling. Your goal there is buying time. It's creating space. It's blocking damage. I think one of the best pieces of advice I got given to me was by, I think, Numlocked. I think I was hearing Numlock coach someone. I think it was during like the UK World Cup stuff. And Numlock literally said to Eccles, the guy playing Reinhardt for us, that's beautiful by the way, that in a team fight, his job is to think about where the enemy DPS is and where your team is relative to that. And you want to just be the wall between it. If it's a Zarya on high charge, just block it. Just stop that damage coming through. You've just cut off about a third of their team's DPS in a single move. That's more than you can contribute doing a lot of other things. If you can cut off even more than that, great. But if you could stop that Zarya dealing DPS to important targets, A+. If you can stop that Zenyatta spamming someone down, if you can stop that mate picking someone off, that's what you want to be doing. This positioning, not good. Not good at all. And I think you can actually see why very clearly in a second or two. Yeah, Pharah's over here, Mercy's down beneath you, Anna's over here, D.Va's over here. What are we protecting? What space are we in? This is a good position, don't get me wrong, this is a perfectly fine position, but what are we protecting? What are we doing? We're just putting our barrier up, but there's nothing behind us. This is, again, like a communication issue as well with just the rest of the team not being on the same page, not being on the ball with what they want to be doing. And yeah, it's a problem, right? Because no one is there to help him. Ganymede, no one's there to help the man. I would pin this guy, I would pin Ganymede somewhere, but he falls off, and I don't have anywhere to pin him behind me, so I just gotta hold him. He's cute though. And yeah, it's that thing of like, the moment-to-moment decision-making is just a little bit off. Maybe the decision to drop down, fair enough, you're not protecting anything up there. Maybe the decision to charge, no! For exactly the same reasons that we've been talking about. Best bet with that charge is that he catches the Reinhardt. So he drops down. Optimistically, he gets the Reinhardt and pins him all the way over here. Maybe even kills the Reinhardt. Let's say he kills the Reinhardt. That means that there's still like 5 other people that are killing his team. And we just heard Soldier 76 fire off his ultimate. There's nothing blocking that damage, nothing stopping that happening. Maybe instead he was just in the middle of things and just had his barrier up. His teammates would have had somewhere to retreat to. They'd have somewhere to fight behind. They'd have somewhere to kill this Soldier 76. Luckily, Anna comes in, saves the day. Nano boost. This is all good. Good. Just keep swinging away. Good. Earth Shadow just across the payload because the payload doesn't block it. Missed opportunity here. This is an interesting thing. Just one thing is the idea of a CC chain. So you've got the stun on the Reinhardt. Reinhardt standing up, charges off cooldown. Why don't you charge him? He can't dodge it. He can't stop it. It's a massive amount of burst damage. It's the best way of killing him. Because by just swinging, you're leaving an opportunity for him to survive this somehow. Because that just took, what, 5 seconds to kill him? Transcendence literally activates right then. If that Transcendence came in a split second too late, split second earlier, Reinhardt survives, and suddenly they have another massive threat in the fight. And that's bad news bears for your team, basically. Again, this is like another instance. This is like a really minor one, but it's still kind of apt. Okay, we've got 2 DPS targets, actually. We've got 2 things on the screen. Solid 76 is back here if you can make him out. He's a bit blurry. And you got Zenyatta. This is a recording of recording, but it should still be fine. And Zenyatta stood there. Okay? Why is your barrier down? You got, like, the rest of your team is following you. You don't need to be the guy killing anything. You could just keep your barrier up, because the nightmare situation there is that, let's say you've got Pharah coming around, Pharah takes a headshot from Zenyatta, and Pharah takes a Helix rocket from the side. Your barrier's down, Pharah's dead. You don't have Pharah. And sure, you've traded, but it's a trade that didn't need to happen. It's a trade that is pointless. It's a trade that shows that you are not doing the effective role on Reinhardt. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that, you know, you don't need to be swinging at that point. The rest of your team can easily do enough damage. Zenyatta's not going fucking anywhere. Why is your barrier down? It's that simple concept. It's just that notion of, hey, and this tilts me, by the way. We'll talk about this in depth in a second. It's that simple concept of knowing what you're doing moment to moment. So Ryan has noticed very astutely, very correctly, someone is pushing the payload. It turns out it's Mei. During that time, we've got this 1v1 happening here. There's a 5v5 happening somewhere else. The other team has a Reinhardt barrier. The other team wins. Why is Ryan the guy going to the fucking payload? Ryan, that is not your job. That is not your job. You're a tank. You are the front fucking line, mate. You are the front fucking... Like, even Ganymede's pissed. You are the front line. Why are you in the back line? Why are you being in the back line? Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Do not ever do that. Even if she managed to push the payload a little bit further in the time it takes Farah to get her fat ass back there to go and deal with whatever it is, that's not your job. That's Farah's job. That's Reaper's job. To go and deal with this nonsense back here. Because what's happening now is the rest of the team who aren't positioning with Rein, who aren't using Rein's barrier, they're getting fucked by the enemy Reinhardt. Because there's no barrier protecting them, he can just drop an Earth Shatter, he gets 2 kills doing all of this. If he wants to kill feed, kills, coming in, hammer down comes in, stuns absolutely everyone because Ryan's out of position. Can't stop any of this damage. Does manage to save it a little bit here, but it's a consolation prize. Again, like one of those charges, it just leaves him out of position. He's chasing down the enemy Reinhardt, he doesn't need to do that. He'd be better served blocking off the enemy DPS with his barrier. That buys more time for your team. The enemy Reinhardt in the back's not going to kill everyone any faster than the 2 DPS coming from the front line. But he just gets frozen anyway and killed. It's sort of academic, but it's an important idea. Zil, good comeback, managed to get back nice and quickly. Managed to get back on the point. And again, this is exactly the same situation as earlier. You were trying to stall. Luckily, you've got a Farah this time helping you do it, and she's got a nano boost on her, so she's dealing shit tons of damage. If there's any way you could protect this Farah, you would, but you can't because, hey, it's a Winston, he just goes through. You don't need to be back here, though. You could just be staying forward, protecting the Farah. Farah's the one who's going to get that kill shot no matter what. Your reinforcements are coming from that angle anyway. You don't need to leave the payload. Farah's on, like, 20 hit points. You just make sure she doesn't die. Missed opportunity here. Very, very small, minor niggle. Missed opportunity here. So you've got a good charge angle here, actually. He's stuck here. If you charge and you just aim for this, even if you miss the charge, like even if he bounces off, you're not horribly out of position. Like if, you know, you wait until he's over here, for example, and you charge there, then you're horribly out of position. You can't protect your team, you can't protect yourself. If you charge here and just hit this, doesn't matter too much, you could kill this guy. Good job getting the barrier up. You want to be inching forward to try and cover this Reaper. Like, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be trying to just inch forward, cover the Reaper, and then just pull him back. Like, literally, this is something I do as right now, is I scoop people up with him, where I'll advance forward, cover them with the barrier, and then just start pulling them back. And it literally sends a signal to the player to, like, follow the Reinhardt, follow the Reinhardt. I'm safe here, I'm safe here, I'm safe here. Enemy team uses Transcendence, they're just rushing desperately. Here, I think he goes for the charge. And again, like, that's the exact charge location I was pointing to. Catches the Zenyatta, like, it's a little bit random, but it still works. Why are you fire striking? I don't know. There's a sights going off. You might as well just keep your barrier up. Diva defense matrix isn't like 100% reliable. It's like a very awkward cone in how it works, and there's a lot of ways around it, a lot of places around it. So you don't want to give that soldier any opportunity to do anything. Just keep that barrier up for as long as possible. Look for the Earth Shatter instead, rather than trying to bring it down and deal DPS. Again, it's just trying to over DPS, trying to be zone denial instead of being the wall, and you want to be the wall. If you want to be zone denial, play Zarya. Like, then you're the big scary person that no one wants to get near because you're cutting them into ribbons. Yeah, that's literally what I think. As Reinhardt, you want to be the wall. You want to be the barrier. You want to be blocking damage, not trying to scare people away with your hits. This, yeah, good. Again, one thing I'd also say as well, when you're fighting them against a Mei, like, luckily Farah comes in and saves you, but just bring your barrier up every now and then, and just, it stops her freezing you. You can't be frozen through the barrier, so you just bring it up, let the freeze effect wear off, and then you're fine. It's just a 1 versus 1 thing. But that's the end of that round. We're going to jump straight to the next round. See you guys there. And so here we are. We're attacking now. So we just got to get to the second point. What does Ryan's lovely team do? Let's skip forward, and let's find out. Skip all the way. Oh, keep going. There we go. Ryan's team opts for cheese. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind cheese. I really don't mind cheese. I think it has its place in the game. I think this is a perfectly viable tactic. What's Ryan's goal? Ryan's goal should be to claim as much space as possible, as quickly as possible, and buy space for his Bastion, basically. Yeah, Ganymede wants to advance forward. Ganymede wants to go kill people. Kill them all, Bastion! Ah! Like, that's what he wants to do. Now, I think their Bastion does fuck up a little bit. Like, up here is not ideal. I think there's a... Oh, just barely missed the shot there. Their Bastion sets up right on top of the payload. I don't think that's actually necessarily a good location for Bastion. I would rather have him, like, hanging off more the side here, where you just stay down here and you just hang slightly off the side. And what Ryan should be doing is, instead of staying behind the payload, literally just get to this corner as quickly as possible, because that buys as much space for your Bastion as you can before he starts wheeling around the corner, because protecting this Bastion is the most important thing you can be doing right now. He is a huge source of DPS. You want him protected. Now, this is the flaw with that position that Bastion's in, where the enemy, like if enemy had DPS up here, they could just shoot right over this barrier and kill the Bastion. Again, why don't you countercharge this? Why isn't that countercharged? And again, this is Bastion's positioning as well. If he was on the side of the payload here, you countercharge that. The Bastion is literally sat like right on top of their Reinhardt. The Bastion just minces in with a machine gun. You win. And you've got a healer, I think, over here somewhere as well that could just keep you alive during all of that. You would have been perfectly fine. It's just a simple thing. Like, the Bastion's position was a little bit wrong, but Reinhardt's position was also a little bit wrong. So let's correct that. Your mentality should be, what space am I grabbing for my Bastion? And here's a really good example. Bastion wants to set up. Like, you just run past Bastion. You know where he is. So let's set him up. Let's get him into position. Why charge here? Why not just bring your barrier up? Make it safe for your team to run out. Instead of going for a charge that leaves you completely exposed to the enemy team. And I think that's, you know, one thing I want to highlight is just always consider the end point of your charge. Where is my charge going to finish? Sometimes in Overwatch, geometry, like, fucks you. Like, sometimes it happens. You'll slide across a wall you're not expecting, and you'll end up somewhere stupid. But most of the time, you can predict where you're going to end up. And that was one of those instances where you knew you were going to end up right in the middle of the enemy team. Here, Bastion setting up a bit too high. That said, Ryan doesn't need to be doing this. Why is Ryan chasing around a monkey in the back when he could be putting a wall up in front of the Bastion? And it's that thing, again, of like, am I area denial or am I a wall? And you're a wall. But he's playing like area denial. Is the one or two swings that Reinhardt's going to get off really going to make a difference to killing that Winston? Probably not. Probably not. Bastion can handle that. The rest of the team can handle that. Instead, you should be putting a wall up and stopping the other 5 members of the team from doing anything. Again, another one of these instances where, like, the positioning gets a bit weird. Like, he starts moving back this way because maybe, I don't know, maybe Ryan expected his team to be over here. What he really should be thinking about is the team this way, like underneath where my face is. Because most of them are over this way. And he should be thinking, where can I position myself that's going to block off as many important targets from this Soldier 76 as possible? He does start inching back this way, but again, it's one of those things where just sweeping in this way, and the other 2 players should be sweeping behind you and just blocking all of the Soldier 76 damage. And then that Pharah could have survived, maybe. But there's a huge opportunity here, and this is like one of the most important things. This is when I'm talking about Earth Shatters and the payload and all that kind of stuff. There's a couple of things that happen here that I find fascinating, right? So first and foremost, there's a huge opportunity right here. This Mercy's dead. This Mercy is so dead. You've got Earth Shatter, there's a Mercy exposed. The nearest barrier is like over here. Nothing will stop you just Earth Shattering and killing this Mercy. You could have just held that down, or you could just block these 2. Like, Maze just use her wall, you could just kill these 2. There's a brilliant Earthshatter opportunity there. There's no major DPS threats coming in. There's no enemy Reinhardt to stop it. The only thing that could stop it's the Winston, who's already out of position. Okay, that's just me being, like, super nitpicky. Missed opportunity. Here I don't mind swinging. Like, this is one of those places where you should be probably swinging more than just outright DPSing. Because the Maze already in your team, the Soldier's already in your team. Kill Soldier, fine. This, though, this is where the big mistake happens. That charge. Why charge? You're stood there with an Earth Shatter. Your team is here. The enemy team's over here. There's a payload here, like even making it hard for them to know what you're doing. It's kind of hard to know what they're doing at the same time, but you know, and this is why you charged, Ryan. Ryan, my man, this is why you've charged. You knew that the enemy team was going to have to, like, go across. Which way? Like, yeah, no, it's this way. They're going to have to come this way, right? They're going to have to, like, swing across this way. And in doing so, you've charged thinking, oh, I can catch someone. I can really get someone here and kill them. Why not just Earth Shadow like this way? And anyone coming in this way, you kill them. They're all going to be bundling in to try and get towards this. They're all going to be eager beavers trying to get those kills. Instead, you've just charged into a position that's left you completely exposed to their team and been killed for it. And yeah, that's not thinking about the end result of the charge location, basically. Like, you've charged and you end up in a bad place. Luckily, your team's in a good place to bring it back. This is where their Reinhardt fucks up. Why is his barrier down? Why is his barrier down? Guys, why has he done that? He's done that because he's made a big mistake and he's just given Ryan a huge opportunity to come in there and Earthshadow his entire team. There's no reason for his barrier to be down as far as I'm aware. Yep, it's not even cracked, I think, when we saw it up just for like a split second. Nope, there's not even a crack on it so far, so it's still over 1,000 hit points, still plenty of time. His team could easily be spamming and spamming and spamming and spamming at us. Instead, he tries to charge. He's got his entire team behind him. His team's just been rezzed. Why are you charging? You should be protecting your team, enemy Reinhardt. Said you're not. You get your Mercy killed, you get yourself killed, I think you get your Lucio killed, and you lose this point for your team. And it's that thing, again, it's exactly the same problem that Ryan has, is he's thinking like, I can get this charge, I can nail this charge, I can get rid of this enemy, I can get rid of this enemy. He's not thinking, I'm currently giving my team this huge amount of space that they need to be able to fight and do their job, and I'm blocking their team from doing what they want to do. He's just thinking, I can get this thing to happen. Again, one of these instances, this is a good position for him. With charge, whatever, that's just a mistake. Like, I think Ryan knew that that one was a bit silly when that happened. He wants to be over here more. His team do a good job though, but he could probably just still stand in front of the payload and just block it. Killing the Mercy is absolutely fine. That Earthshatter, don't give a shit about. That's a mistake by their Reinhardt. Point's already been captured. No one's there even contesting it. Why Earthshatter there? You've just wasted an ultimate friend. Okay, transition from this point to the next. What do you do here as Reinhardt? Honestly, this is one of the hardest points in the game for Reinhardt because the enemy team is usually set up above you here. It's usually set up here, above where Ryan is right now. And if you're trying to fight up there when you're Reinhardt, that's always going to be very difficult. Luckily, their team doesn't do that. Your team's already taking control of it. That's good. What you want to be doing is just protecting your healers as much as possible. Like, just keep this payload rolling as fast as you can. Just keep this barrier up. Like, the fire strike that came out a couple of seconds ago, this one, I don't like it. Why do that? You're giving an opportunity for just, like, if someone just walks out here and starts nailing headshots, your Anna's dead. Like, you don't need to be doing that fire strike. Don't lower your barrier for no, like, with no good reason, just hoping that a fire strike lands, for example. Keep that barrier up as much as possible, as long as it's not just being freely shelled on. Fine. Absolutely fine. Because you will find people who can exploit those kinds of openings. As you get higher and higher and higher, you will find people that can use those openings to get kills. And especially like a good Mei player can just get a fucking icicle right through your barrier if you start lowering it willy-nilly. This is good though, this is like a massive positive. He saw the opening, he takes it. Perfect, absolutely perfect. This is good play. Like, their Reinhardt messes up because he turns to try and barrier off the D.Va ult. The Anna Sleep Dart comes in, and it's just like, this is easiest opening in the world. Easiest opening in the world. Almost gets follow-up, doesn't quite go through. No, still. That's perfect. And that's about it. So, like, we're just going to go all the way back here, I guess, and just let this play out a bit while I talk and while we close out. So this has been Orion's Max. It's been a bit of a long video, about 25, 27 minutes-ish of, like, pure Reinhardt action. Hopefully, though, it's helped you guys. It's helped you guys understand at least how I think about Reinhardt. I could be completely fucking off on this, but I don't think so. I think I'm pretty damn on the point here. Ganymede thinks I'm on the point too. And yeah, this has been Ryan from Overwatch Central's gameplay. I've been commenting over it. I am Josh, OneAmongstMany Pemberton. If you're curious about my channel, come check me out, because I'm sure Ryan will want to promote this as well. Hopefully, Ryan, this has been some help for you. Hopefully I haven't been too mean. Hopefully it's all been constructive. Hopefully there's a couple of useful things you can learn from this. Remember, you are the wall, and think about where your charge is going to end up, and think about who you're blocking off and who you're isolating with your barrier. Toodles.